Hi, I wanted to make another video and I didn't bother to change my clothes to create the illusion that this is some other day, so fuck it. So I want to talk about something that is part of a huge struggle that I had when I'm trying to come up with commentary for like Paper Mario N64. At the time of this recording, I have 29 parts recorded. Now you could say, oh yeah, I look at the playlist, but you probably just have some other fan in there to fill in for it and pretend. It's like, whatever, dude, I don't care. I'll tell you, and I don't care. So next part, we have to record at the time. This recording is part 3, and that's when I start chapter 3. Now, here's the thing, and this is one of the things that's probably going to keep me going. So for all those who think of quitting Let's Playing, look, I'm not telling you you have to keep doing it every day. If you want to knock down the rate and then have a refresh in this global spotlight, I hope, called the upload date section, but have it like once every 10 or 20 days. So then that way, only one bullet of Sam Fisher is used for once per 10 minutes, and then the guard stares at it, and then Sam Fisher can do what he does instead of just blowing 10 rounds while the guy's still standing looking at the wall, and you know how that works. You hit the wall once and they look at it for a while and they go back to the control. It's like, wouldn't that be the smart thing to do? Don't use up the rest of your 9 while they're still standing there, right? Okay, so there's that. Here's what's going to keep me going, I think. But that doesn't necessarily mean I have to go crazy. Well, for some people that's natural for them, and that probably would be actually a disservice to them if they didn't. But for someone like me, that would actually be a disservice to probably force myself to keep going fast like that. Like, I don't know, there could come some days where I could be in this great feeling and I could probably record 20 parts in one day. And 20 part, by that I mean like between 8 and 12 minutes per part. And then in between those, when I'm not recording, I do like a couple rounds of alternate nostril breathing, some other things to have some kind of distortion and some mystery factor and all that stuff. So, okay, there's that. Now, I'm resting my right arm on my knee because it's getting a little shaky and a little sore after holding this thing for a while. So, alright. So, one of the things is, so while it is absolutely admirable to keep trying to come up with different commentaries, like different jokes and different things to bring up, and you feel like, but I don't want to keep making the same jokes, keep bringing up the same stuff. I'll tell you why that's going to be just fine after a while. So, for over 90%, maybe I'll give myself some credit, I think it's over 90% that I had something different for like maybe the first 25 parts of Paper Mario, because then after that I started to loosen up. So for the first 25 parts, for the most part, I try to come up with something like different, like something redundant, and I would do like a check in my mind to make sure I haven't used that already. So while that is admirable to do, and I think, to a good extent, I'm going to keep doing it, but to an extent, it's probably going to be a lot lower, and I'm going to be more loose and more subconscious fun mixed in. So you're probably going to have like a mix of new and old. And I'm going to also get into why that's actually a good thing. So, well, in my eyes anyway. So for the first 25 parts, I really tried. And I think I did a passable job. Okay. And then, like, starting from 26 to 29, I just kind of, like, I came up with some different things, I think, technically, in terms of, at least for the Let's Play, and maybe the other Let's Plays that I've ever put out there. You're saying this? Yeah. Okay. So, after that, and this took a lot of like a realizing, because I would watch a lot of Let's Plays and I would like hear a lot of the same stuff on over and over. I'm like, oh god, he's saying this again. like in one way that makes sense, but in another way, I think that's actually a good thing. Because one, what if somebody never watched the other stuff he ever did, and that particular Let's Play was the only fandom they ever watched in their living lifetime? So if Nintendo Capri Sun never kept repeating the in the bathroom thing, and he only said it in like 1 or 2 Let's Plays ever, then that would mean that for those people who ever saw the other Let's Plays other than that, they never get to hear that. And I get it, you know, it's like, yeah, but that takes up time for something you could do differently, right? Even though it's short and sweet, and it may not seem like it matters much whenever, well, like initially by itself it probably does, but in the grand scheme of things, no. But the other thing is that I go to a website, and I'm probably not going to say what it is, because, but anyway, I get information off of there, and because information that you get into your brain that can roll off of you subconsciously, that is one of the things that's going to keep driving me, is because I'm going to gather quote-unquote useful information, and that's going to rub off some way in what I say, and I get it. Not everybody's going to get it, probably not even half the population, not because people are dumb or any shit like that, but because, you know, some people are just more in tune with that, and they're going to pick up on that subconscious, like, okay, I know what he's subconsciously like saying through the different tonalities and the spaces between the words, and possibly even what the time code in the video was when he said it. The other thing is I want to talk about code, and this is where the old comes in, where the old can become useful. So Nintendo Capri Sun has said in the bathroom, God knows how many times, because I have not looked for an actual count probably, and I have not watched that much comparatively. But there's like, when he says it, there's slight, like, I don't know if you want to say sonically or auditorily, acoustically, there's slight differences in those. Because of that, just from that, he could make something now, and he could say the in the bathroom thing again, but he could do it in, like, there's so many different points, like, he said in the bathroom this way right after he said this other thing, or right before he said this, or during this part of the game, and what he could be doing subconsciously whenever he realizes this or not. And this has nothing to do with your intellect, so I'm not calling anybody stupid. This has happened to me, and there's probably a shitload of subconscious value that I'm probably never going to get in my lifetime. But the way that he says, like, in the bathroom doing one new Let's Play is, code-wise, could be a reference to another instance where he said it, at least the instance that is the closest to the way he said it, tone-wise, tempo-wise, possibly even amplitude fluctuation-wise. Maybe the way his voice sounded, like the timbre, which is how you know if it's Michael Jackson or David Bowie, despite being saying like pulse rate. Timbre also being known as color. So, what this means is that Nintendo Capri Sun could be talking about something with the bakery at Pick and Save in this new Let's Play. And then he says, in the bathroom in a certain way. Okay. Now you're going to reference that exact way he said it, that particular way at that particular time. And you're going to go find the one other instance out of the gazillions that he said it that matches that the most. And you're going to match that. And you're going to say, okay, there's another instance from before where he said it almost exactly like this out of the gazillion times. Now I'm going to consider from the previous one that he did what he said before and after that, and what was happening during that. And I'm going to combine what happened in the new one versus with the old one. And then I'll be able to get a message out of that. And that could be one way of getting past the censors, you see. So this is another good reason why you want to have old. And you can have your new, but you can also have your old. And then you can have like a code that your audience is in on. I don't know if there's going to be an artificial intelligence thing that comes out, and I don't know how reliable that is going to be, and it's probably going to have a lot of false flagging as it does a lot of anything else, so it's probably going to be a real shit show. They make an AI for that, for detecting that, and you're going to have a whole shit. So yeah, those are some of the things, if not at least most of what because there's also like the value of different things that happen to me, and then I like slightly resonate in different ways because of like different things that happen, and then I can reflect that in the let's play part, and then maybe a month later I'll be different then, and then I can reflect that in the let's play part that I record a month later. And yeah. And also the other thing, this vlog is actually going over on Irwin, y'all. Over on Sam Lambert, there's another video on there. It's kind of long. I talk about being on something while doing something. For example, if you had the sound of a fan blaring in the background while you were composing something, that's not just with the fan. That's also with the buzz in the air and the other stuff. What I'm talking about is frequency 1 and frequency 2 being mixed together and going off at the same time induces a third frequency overall resonance wise that neither of the two by themselves could ever induce. It is only when now I'm not saying you can't just like find a frequency and just generate this by itself, but what I am saying is that putting these two at the same time induces this overall resonance wise that neither of these two by themselves could ever induce. So if you wanted to send a message out anyway, alright, let's say for part 1 of your Let's Play, you're on something. Let's say you're on a soda that starts with an F. Okay. So it's like, what was this guy on when he made it? And it's like, if you get on that other frequency that he was on while he made it, then feeling-wise, it'll make more sense. Right? But the other thing is that when you got these two things inducing this, and then you introduce another one, it's not just the stop at 4, but now you got the result of 4, the frequency resulting from 4 mixing with 3, then you got the one coming from 4 mixing with 2, and then you got the one frequency that's coming from 4 mixing with 1. So now you're actually at 7 now. So it keeps doubling every time. So that means if I take this away, then we're back down to from 7 to 3, actually. So yeah, it's not exactly that simple. But you could try generating tones in Audacity, and I would recommend the square wave, which I call the full wave, because when I hear that, I see a pure white light in my mind, whereas with sine wave, that's more like a light blue, regardless of the frequency, I guess, because like I said, timbre is the color, and the pulse rate is the pulse rate, so whatever. Yeah, okay, so back to this. For part 1, you're on a soda that starts with an F. So then for part 2, then for part 2, you're on a candy whose name starts with a U. And then for part 3, you are wearing a shampoo. You wash yourself with a shampoo whose name starts with a C. And then for part 4, you're wearing a piece of clothing whose natural resonance frequency beaming onto you, whose brand name or particular name starts with a K, and you see where I'm going with this. So, and then, like I said, you would have to like be on that same frequency to know what they're on. Like what? Like to understand the overall feeling. Because if you're not, then it's gonna feel like something's missing. It's like, I don't get why he thought this felt so great, you know? So there you go. Another good little tip from your friend Irwin. Bye-bye. I wonder if recording at 16-bit instead of the 32-bit flow will help prevent so many dropouts, and I don't know if the dropouts are because the computer couldn't process it at the time for something I was recording, or if some other reason. So now I'll just record at 16-bit PCM, hopefully this doesn't drop out. Okay, so there's another part. By the way, yeah, you're just having audio now. Hear me on a Yeti microphone. blue snowball I got from 2019 at Best Buy somewhere. Sorry if I don't provide the exact model number and all that stuff. Anyway, I want to talk about the other thing that I think I failed to mention in the video, which was the detrimental side of marking off stuff that you already said so you don't say it. I want to explain this to you. You probably know this already, but I don't care. I'm going to tell you anyway. So here goes. The detrimental side to this is that through neural wiring, like neuroscience and wiring, what marking off stuff as something you already said does is that not only do you take the word and the words in a sentence and then you red flag that in your mind as something you don't want to use, and again, if you do use it, you're probably going to feel like, oh god, I can't believe I repeated that. The problem with this is that not only are you attaching a certain emotion and a certain, omitting when it comes to like saying stuff, is that this doesn't just apply like neural connection and neuroscience wise, wiring wise. This doesn't just like apply to just a sentence like you would logically think in your logical mind, but it's also taking all the words in there, plus mid sentences, if you will, within the full sentence, plus the tone of your voice in it. And what this does is that this will cross wires in a way, if you will, with other things that you technically, logically, in your logical mind, figure that you never actually said on recording. And what's going to happen, I think, is that this will also cross over to stuff you never technically said on recording. So that means stuff you never technically said on recording is neural connection wise going to feel like something you did say, and now you're not going to say what you technically never said on recording because it crossed wires neural wise, and now something you never actually said on recording feels like something you did say, and you want to omit it from saying it again. Now the world's not going to get to hear that technically new thing that for the neural stuff cross wires. So yeah, there you go. There's another reason why just embrace repeating after a while and don't get annoyed by it, because subconscious mind, that shit don't rationalize. And if you want to keep fighting against the nature of your logical mind, you go ahead. I suppose with your logical mind, you can go ahead and create your own hell, but you can also go ahead and create your own heaven. You do whatever you want. Anyway, take care, guys. Bye.